Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the HJC podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm Ryan, your host, and be sure to listen, download, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and of course on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. Today on the show, we're going to be definitely talking about the Capitals Stadium Series jersey, which may have been forced to be released this week. Who knows? And we're also going to be talking about the AHL All-Star Classic jerseys, which we saw this past week. And of course, we have our regular segments, Fake or Authentic. We'll dive into the mailbag, and we got Throwback Throwdown. And don't forget, listen to the whole podcast, because you'll have a chance to win a free HJC sticker. Joining me on today's podcast is Monday's writer, Sean. How's it going, Sean?
Glad to be back for another week. I'm feeling capital.
And we also have Thursday's writer, Justin. How's it going, Justin?
2 weeks into the semester and still have time to record, so it's a good day.
All right. Friday's writer, TC. Welcome back, TC.
It's good to be back. After 2 weeks without the podcast, I was starting to get the shakes.
And Sunday's writer, Steve.
Hi, everybody.
That's Steve. He writes on Sundays. All right. We're all here. We're all ready to go. And the big story coming out of the week is the release of the Washington Capitals Stadium Series jersey. And of course, that was leaked on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. And who knows, that may have forced the Capitals to prematurely reveal their jersey. We'll never know. But there wasn't much fanfare. It was just a Twitter post and some pictures. But we got a blue jersey with square white shoulder yokes and a just massive red waist stripe, which is being known as the cummerbund, and simple broad red stripes on the arms. There's blue pants with the Washington Monument W on them, but that's enough description because we have everybody on to talk about them. Sean, why don't you start us off your initial thought when you saw this jersey on Twitter, or when you saw the leak on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com?
Well, when I saw the leak on some website called HockeyJerseyConcepts.com, I thought perhaps this was a fashion jersey. I didn't want to think that this was the Stadium Series jersey, although I like the idea of the Capitals wearing blue. I thought maybe the toddler jersey didn't have details that we would find. In fact, in some respects, the toddler jersey is better because it doesn't have the massive hem stripe.
Good point. That massive hem stripe will come up a lot today. TC, what'd you think when you saw the leak?
Oh, dear God, no. It's just, it's not a good-looking jersey. The white yoke is all right. The Caps shortened text is decent looking. I like the detailing in the numbers, but that's only going to matter if you buy it. Seeing it, you're not going to notice it.
Yeah.
And that hem stripe is atrocious.
It's huge. It's just massive. Justin, thoughts on the leak?
Yeah, when we leaked it, my first thought was, don't freak out, it's a toddler jersey, it's going to be fine. Things just look weird because it's a toddler jersey. Unfortunately, things didn't look weird because it was a toddler jersey. Things looked weird because it is weird. They're doing something new, so you give them that, but I really don't think there's too much more to give them. The cap shortened text looks much better than I anticipated, so that's a win on that part, but there's really not many W's to go around on this jersey other than what's already on the pants.
Steve, you echo those thoughts?
Yeah, from what I've noticed, honestly, though, is that I think Adidas likes to put more time into doing something special with the numbers than they do overall with the whole entire jersey. Basically, when I saw this, I was kind of like, again, another terrible one. I think the only good one they ever had was the second Winter Classic one, so this was just terrible overall.
I've come to expect from the Stadium Series and the All-Star Game that you're just going to get, I guess you could call them outlandish designs. That's just what I've come to expect. Let's touch on the hem stripe, because this thing is huge. Sean, is it too big? I think it's obviously too big, but is it too big? And could it have been saved?
It could have been saved if they thinned it just enough that it looked like, say, for example, a standard, hem stripe width, like something like what the Oilers have. If you filled that entire thing in with red, maybe. Because I get what they're trying to go for with this. The problem with it is that there's no blue separating it from the rest of the jersey. It's one of those things, again, and we see this with Adidas quite a bit, where the whole look, including the gear, is supposed to create something. And maybe it looks better, but as a jersey itself, it just doesn't work. And I don't think they took that into account.
TC, you saw something on Twitter about the giant hem stripe that I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, the best description I had was that the whole jersey was supposed to be red, but it only got about 40% of the way through because the Caps can never make it past the second round.
Just like the loading
Mainly
bar.
to the Penguins.
That's true. Who knows? This could be the year. That's a podcast for another time. But Capitals are kind of quietly doing well this year, except in specialty jersey design. Justin, what'd you think when you saw the giant hem stripe? And yeah, we saw it on the toddler jersey.
Another description I've seen is that the problem was Ovechkin just reached into the closet and pulled out a youth medium jersey and forgot to take off his red T-shirt he was wearing underneath. So it's actually a fully blue jersey, but it just doesn't cover his belly all the way. He's going with the Zeke Elliott crop top look. I think in terms of salvaging the look, I think if you take a white stripe and you slap it on there and split that red half and half, I think you'd go a long way. I think that would bring a lot more white into the jersey, which you kind of have. It's top heavy with white between the numbers and the white and the text, but there's literally nothing but red and blue on the bottom. So I think if you throw that on there, it'll be a step in the right direction. Whether that's enough to get it done, I'm not sure, but that's something that I think could help it get along the way.
Steve, does the giant hem stripe ruin the jersey?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say it because of this. Like, I understand why they made it so wide. Because it's a stadium series, it's going to be out and everything. But red is the most visible color of any color anyone can look at. The only people that can't see that are people who are colorblind. Otherwise, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, if it was white, if it was a blue stripe, then we wouldn't be having this discussion. But it's red. It's terrible. It was a terrible choice overall.
Yeah, it's an eyesore, definitely. And even in one of the pictures, it was kind of the camera's positioned low, a little bit low, aiming up at Ovechkin. And just the red stripe makes it look like he's got a giant gut. And speaking from the perspective of a fat guy, I've put on too many T-shirts, and your gut just forces the T-shirt out, and there's too much air coming up from underneath, hitting your skin, your gut skin. And that's what it looked like when Ovechkin was posing for one of these photos. And to me, the giant hem stripe ruins the jersey and makes it look ridiculous on the players. Of course, the final test comes when we see it on the ice in March. But another question I wanted to ask was, we've touched on the stitch numbers, and again, you're not going to see it on TV. You're not going to see it if you're in the crowd. You're only going to see it on close-ups and if you buy the jersey. Is it a cool feature, though, Sean?
I'll be honest with you. This is one of the few times that I don't like the pattern on the numbers, for the reason that the way that it is done makes it look like the numbers are sewn from the inside and they're not attached on the outside. And I feel like you can fit your hand halfway inside the numbers and kind of peel them. That's just what it looks like to me. It looks like an unsewn part of like something leather.
Yeah. TC?
I kind of like it. I like that it's tied into the original layout of Washington, D.C. I saw that on the infographic. I didn't know what point of reference it was. It definitely became cooler once they explained it. But again, with jerseys like this, I can make a terrible looking jersey and create an infographic that shows the reasoning behind all of it, and it's still a terrible looking jersey.
Great point. Great point. Justin, what'd you think of the stitching on the numbers?
I think it's sort of out of place on this jersey. I mean, it's such a basic design. You got thick red stripes everywhere, a white yoke, and literally nothing else. And then you go and try to snazz up this kind of, I don't know, I guess it's modern because of the thickness of the stripes, but it's a very basic design. So it seems strange to me to have this kind of geometric grid pattern on the numbers. I think with the retro jerseys we've seen recently, with when we had the Buffalo alternate back a few years ago, and we had the Toronto Arenas jersey this year. I think the stitching looks really well in the retro look. On the more modern Stadium Series look, although it is a unique design, I'm not sure this is necessarily the place to put it out there.
Great point. Some sort of specialty shoulder patch referencing that would have been nice, but too late now. Steve, stitch numbers, what are your thoughts? Do you like it? And following that, is this jersey too simple? Because if you were to get this jersey without a number on it, it kind of loses any sort of charm, in my opinion. What do you think?
This is what I would call stitching for stitching's sake. And it's something that I've fully expect now Adidas to do on a numerous basis, just because it's like they forced it into it, because they're kind of like, oh, well, this is too basic, so let's add that in. We're really good at this.
Yeah.
But it is just out there. It's really out there. It feels like it is forced within it. But the jersey overall, it doesn't feel cohesive. It feels like they had a bunch of ideas and they didn't know which way to go, so they just threw everything together in a pot, and out came this nasty jumbo stuff that was the Stadium Series jersey.
Justin, what do you think? Is this too simple?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great jersey for the Caps, and that's only because I hate the Caps. I think it's a terrible jersey for an NHL team. I think it fits the Caps well, much like Ryan and his thoughts on the Canadians. I think the Caps are they're just one letter away from what they should be. They could be called the Washington Capitals, and I'd be all over them.
That would be a Stadium Series jersey.
Yeah, here you go, Washington Craps. I think you put that on it suits the jersey well, and then forget the white stripe on the hem. Just put an R in there, and the jersey's good to go. But yeah, this jersey does nothing for me. I mean, it's hard enough for me to buy a Caps jersey as a Pens fan, and this is definitely not tipping the scales in their favor.
TC, too simple?
Too simple. I'm a huge fan of Washington's outdoor jerseys so far. I own both of them, and there is not a low enough price in the world to get me to purchase one of these.
These are going to be all over eBay and all your retailers in a couple of years, and they'll just be like, please buy them, and we'll see what happens. Sean, wrap it up on too simple here. What do you think?
I think that when you look at a very simple jersey, the Philadelphia Stadium Series from last year proved that you can have an extremely simple jersey and it look halfway decent. That was a very nice jersey.
Yeah.
The thing is that when you work with something that simple, you have to do something interesting with it. Putting numbers on the arm comes to mind. Putting a stitching pattern in it isn't enough. And I think that if the hem stripe was okay and you got rid of the yoke, I think you could do something with it. As is now, I have no clue what they were thinking, and I would hope that the jersey sales aren't enough that they consider making it their alternate. And
I think maybe we can all agree here, but missed opportunity to use the Weagle, everyone?
Yes, 100%. 200%. There's no reason they haven't used it yet that can actually satisfy me, and this is literally the time to do it. And they said, you know what, let's give it a 5 letters.
I think they're terrified to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think their ultimate fear is that if they use it, people will like it better than the capital script. And I think they're afraid because they'll realize that they failed at putting a good primary logo on there, and they don't want that to happen.
Well, again, as a team, you got to think of it from the financial aspect. They've invested so much money into that capital script and stayed away from the Weagle that if they put it out there now and everyone wants the Weagle, you got to redirect all your marketing towards the Weagle, and you can't really do it mid-season. That's why these things are done in the off season.
But on the other hand, if you release the Weagle, then you have everyone clamoring to get those.
Yep,
and they're going to buy them.
Yep, that's a good point.
It sort of offsets any losses that they may incur.
Yep, that's also a good
Very
point
true.
too. So we've seen what Washington's going to wear, and it's a blue jersey, which is odd because they're playing the Maple Leafs. I thought this would have been a good chance to do another red versus blue game, but no, we're not doing that apparently. So the Capitals are going to wear blue playing the Maple Leafs. Sean, what do you think the Maple Leafs are going to wear?
Well, our good friends down at Pro Sports in Pickering, Ontario have said, and they tend to be accurate with this, they're accurate about the Arenas jersey. They said that it'll be a white version or something very similar to what we saw in the Centennial Classic.
Everyone pretty much agree with that? Or anyone have any ideas on what the Leafs should wear?
I think they will, and I think they should. I mean, it was a good design, and I think taking it beyond the use of one game and pulling it into a new season is going to give them something good and something that'll at least be better than this, no matter how they execute it, unless they put a gigantic chest stripe or something on it to try and match. But
yeah.
I think a white version of the Centennial Classic jersey, I would definitely be on board with buying.
Yeah.
And it's simple enough. I wasn't a fan of the blue one when it came out, but time has worn away on me, and now I want one of those jerseys when you can't get a hold of them. You can get them in like small and medium, but
I have one. It's a beautiful jersey.
Well, Sean, we should bring in the band. Bring in the band for Sean. He's got a Centennial Classic jersey, yes.
It's fun to say you're talking about that and holding over Ryan's head for a while.
Yeah, he uses them to wrap his pucks up in.
No, I
He
use
uses them to protect his Canadians jerseys when he's traveling with them.
Oh,
I use my Islanders black jersey.
There you go.
oh no, not the
Somehow
other.
worse.
All right, so it's time to give a quick review and a grading of what we've seen from the Washington Capitals, what they'll be wearing for the 2018 Stadium Series game. And Steve, why don't you start us off here?
I give it a solid C-. It's not failing, but at the same time, it's just enough to pass as a jersey.
TC?
I'm gonna have to go with a D. I just think it's too basic, and it's only not an F because it's somewhat of it has elements that I think could work. I just think the whole basis of the jersey is just too plain to really work.
Justin?
I think I'm the same boat as a hockey jersey D, because it at least looks decent from the back. I don't mind it once it's fully dressed. As a Caps jersey, A+. Exactly how they should represent themselves.
Sean?
I'm going to give it a D+. I think that Philly caught lightning in a bottle last year, and that might be the best simple jersey we'll see for a while. And I think that the Caps prove that not only can you not try to recapture that, but you can actually do a whole lot worse. Toronto will win this matchup in the department of looks, hands down.
I'm going to have to go and give this one an F. I think they just missed on everything. The Caps word mark, it's fine. It fits in with their brand, but I still think it disappointed people. Could have used the Weagle. And the giant waist stripe, I don't know how it got through all the phases of review, because it's just not a good look. And even they must have done an on ice test somewhere, and someone said, yep, that's good, make it. And maybe they're just trying to be anything to be different, but I think it's been proven time and time again, people don't want different for different's sake on a hockey jersey. So I'm going to have to go ahead and give Washington and Adidas an F on this jersey. Coming up later in the podcast, of course, we're going to get to the AHL All-Star Classic jerseys, and we're going to do fake or authentic. But you'll also have a chance, keep listening to the podcast, to win a free HJC sticker. Simply go on to Twitter and tweet us about this podcast. That information coming up later in the podcast. We did this last week, and so now I'd like to announce the winner of a free sticker. And last week's winner was Alan H. Allen, you've won a free HJC sticker. I'll be in contact with you, and I'll get that out to you. And when you get it, be sure to tweet it out to everybody so everyone can see how awesome these stickers are. Coming up next.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, thanks,
Put
Alan.
it on your boat, eh?
Totally.
Oh, for sure.
They're perfect boat stickers. We've covered that. They're fantastic. Coming up next, we are going to be talking about the AHL All-Star Classic jerseys. You're listening to the HJC Podcast every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. Listen, download, and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. All right, the AHL All-Star Classic jerseys, they were released late this past week. 4 jerseys because they follow the same format as the NHL. And there's a green jersey with broad blue stripes outlined in white. There's a white jersey with red stripes outlined in blue. There's a red jersey with blue stripes outlined in white. And there's a blue jersey with red stripes outlined in white. So we had a good look at them this week. The neat thing about these is CCM has now, it's not an exact Adidas clone, the cut of the jersey, but they are coming up with similar fabrics. They're calling it Quick Light. Adidas calls their fabrics Climalite. It's all an effort for us to buy more jerseys and for them to raise prices. But CCM coming up with their own cut. Sean, I'll start with you. And let's start with the white jersey for the Atlantic Division with the red stripes outlined in blue. What'd you think of this, and maybe what you thought of all of them as a whole? Let's do the whole set.
Yeah, I don't get why you have three really nice red, white, and blue jerseys. I mean, they all look like Rochester Americas jerseys, let's be real here. But, I get why they're choosing these colors, the league's colors. And then Utica gets a jersey. Which I don't, thinking about it, I don't mind the idea of you have the league colors and then the division that the team that hosts it is in, their division's colors will match that team. That's actually a really nice idea. It's a little jarring to see three jerseys that go together also nicely and one that stands out like a sore thumb. But overall, I like them. I feel the need for an outline on the script on the front of the jerseys. But overall, these are quite nice.
Steve, what do you think about the All-Star Classic jerseys for the AHL?
I love them.
Yeah.
I love the old AHL script from the old All-Star jerseys. I love the basic, simple striping with the divisions names in them. I mean, it does bother me a little bit that they all have the traditional red, white, a blue jersey, and then all of a sudden there's that green and blue Utica colored jersey. But, I mean, it makes sense with the division. But overall, they did a lot better of a job than the NHL, and I actually like the color a lot better than compared to Adidas's.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Justin, what'd you think of the AHL jerseys?
Yeah, I think the Capitals marketing team needs to take a look at this blue and red jersey and pencil down how to actually make a blue and red jersey look good. I mean, a jersey with a right size hem stripe really goes a long way, as you can see here.
Yeah.
But beyond shitting on the Caps a little bit more, I think it's a really good look. I really like that they went and put the division names in the hem stripe. I think that works really well. I think something we've seen since the NHL has gone to a similar division format is that you can't really tell what team is actually playing other than just knowing what colors each team is for that given game. So I think that's a great look. I wasn't a fan of it when the Kings did it with their original Edge jerseys, but I think for an all-star game where really teams don't have their own identity before that, I think it's a great way to tie that in while still putting the league's logo on center stage on the chest.
It's interesting going back to the blue jersey and the Washington Capitals. If you haven't seen the AHL All-Star Classic jerseys, head over to HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. We have a story about that up on Saturday. But if you take a look at the blue jersey that Justin was talking about, it's blue jersey. It's essentially the Canucks home jersey, but with red stripes instead of green stripes. But if the Capitals took that and added their square white shoulder yokes to that and used the Weagle, I can just imagine how happy people would be with that. So yeah, great point. The Capitals could have taken note that here's a simple way to do a jersey, and it doesn't matter how classic that is. I don't necessarily feel like it's been done before. I'm very accepting of it. TC, what do you think of the AHL All-Star Classic jerseys?
I love them. I think they're a great faux back look. The really basic striping. I'll have to echo Justin by saying I love the use of the division names, hem stripe. But again, the same thing as everyone else. It's like Pacific, red, white, and blue. Atlantic, red, white, and blue. Central, red, white, and blue. North, green! It's like that one friend when you go to a Halloween party that no one really likes, so you tell him the wrong group costume, and he ends up just dressing like an ass while the rest of you coordinate. I think it's nice that they're trying to throw Utica a bone, but it's just such an eyesore when the other three fit so nicely. And I guess that's an issue of having a 3-color color scheme when you have 4 divisions. But there had to have been a better way to do it than just this green.
Black. Of course, Sean says black.
No, Sean, black is never the answer.
No.
But one thing they could have done with Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, why don't they just take the green and put it on the blue jersey?
Yeah.
Keep it small. Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it would look like a Canucks jersey, but Utica, Canucks, they're kind of connected there. But yeah, that would keep with the theme, and then you'd have 2 kind of Utica themed teams and 2 AHL themed teams. I got to echo what you guys have been saying. The division name on the front of the jersey. I'm such a traditionalist. I'm usually not a fan of font within a stripe, but yeah, this one totally works. And just going through the pictures, let's first start with the collar, which is a new style collar from CCM. CCM now owns the edge cut. Reebok doesn't own the edge cut. CCM and Reebok are separate companies now, but this is an entirely new collar from CCM for these quick light jerseys, sort of replicating Adidas work, but I find it actually substantially better. Still looks like a hockey jersey collar, but a new style, and it accomplishes everything that I think Adidas wanted to do and failed at with their collars. Sean, thoughts on this new cut of jersey?
What's interesting is going through my old Edge jerseys, I actually think that the original Edge collar now is quite dated. I think that it looks kind of bulky in certain ways. And Edge had a lot of different collar styles. Let me be clear that this, to me, looks like a natural extension of Edge. Particularly, I like the new collar insert style. I like the fact that now they, for the most part, stick out. And I feel that if done right, a lot of teams can use this to their advantage. I just see the same problem that we have with the Adidas Pentagon, where if you make it a bright enough color, it'll stand out from the rest of the jersey and ruin what would otherwise be a pretty decent color design.
Justin, thoughts on this new cut from CCM?
Yeah, I think Sean brings up a good point. I think these jerseys look good because they have a pentagon, trapezoid, whatever you want to call it, on these jerseys that actually matches either the collar or the jersey itself. So I think the fact that it doesn't stand out really helps it look like a hockey jersey collar rather than some kind of gimmick that Adidas is coming up with to make their stuff different. Now CCM is jumping on now. I will say that I prefer the NHL version where you have the league shield in the little pentagon trapezoid area. I think that really completes the look and makes it look good. I've always thought about that with the current AHL sort of Reebok copies where they use more or less what is an Edge template and then leave that little triangle area bare. I think it looks a little strange because we're just used to having the NHL logo there. So I think that still could be an issue, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction when compared to what Adidas showed us this year.
TC, thoughts on the new cut?
I like the new cut. I think it's a nice sort of compromise between the Adidas cut and the Reebok cut because it has the shape of the collar as the Adidas, but instead of having that horrific pentagon, it's more of a trapezoidal shape. And so to me, it's sort of reminiscent of the Oilers.
Steve, what are your thoughts on the cut of these new quick light jerseys?
I like it. What I like most is that the collar does not look awkward. Like, what I mean is, with Adidas's collar, it's like they forced it. But with this one, it's just like they just placed that pentagon there.
And
so, but
yeah, I
otherwise, sorry?
I agree with you on the collar. Like, I've said this before, it looks like a hockey jersey collar. Whereas Adidas, it looks mashed on, it looks glued on top, it looks forced. But yeah, I agree with you on the collar here.
So, but yeah, and just overall, I mean, it fits a whole lot better because for most of them, they have that collar. The insert is the same color as the primary color of the collar, so it's not like standing out like you would see with some of the other jerseys. So
as I mentioned, CCM is calling this jersey technology quick light, and the AHL will be switching to this cut of jersey for next season. And HJC contacted CCM to see if the ECHL and the Canadian Hockey League would be following suit, and they will not be. So maybe that's 2 years down the road or not at all. But that will be an interesting development to watch. If you guys want to give a quick rating of the 4 jerseys as a whole, go ahead. Sean, you start us off.
I understand this is more of an Albany thing, but these jerseys, they remind me a lot of steamed hams. So I give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Justin.
Yeah, I think 3 of them get a 10 out of 10. Then you throw the green one on there, and just the inconsistency pulls it to about a 8.5 out of 10. But it's still really well done. Something I think the NHL should do. They're getting really gimmicky with trying to do all kinds of futuristic designs, and I think they've really run their course on that. So I think going back to kind of a more traditional route would really serve them well and gives the fans something they're really looking for.
TC?
I think in a vacuum, each of these gets a 10, but as a whole set, kind of like what Justin said, is that the green just sticks out like a sore thumb, a green thumb, if you will.
Oh.
And it pulls it down to about an 8.5.
All right, gardening aside, Steve, what's your rating of these jerseys?
I'd have to say 8.5 too. They're not gimmicky. They're perfect. It's like I say, keep it simple, stupid. So, and that's exactly what they did. It's just the green one really stands out too much. And that's where I think it was kind of feels awkward. So otherwise it'd be a perfect 10.
All right, I'm going to go out there and give these jerseys as a whole 10. 10 out of 10. I like everything about them. There's nothing on these jerseys that I think is terrible. I totally accept the green jersey because the game is in Utica. I love the colors of the other jersey. The stitching looks fantastic. The new cut looks fantastic. Overall, super happy with these jerseys. So I'm giving them a 10. Well done, AHL. And now it's time for our HJC sticker giveaway. For your chance to win a free HJC sticker, simply go on Twitter and tweet about this podcast directly. Be sure to provide a direct link to this podcast and tag us at HockeyJC. A winner will be randomly selected from those that entered and will be announced here on the podcast next week. Coming up next, we got Throwback Throwdown. Throwback Throwdown, and on Sunday we have San Jose in Anaheim. So I'm taking some early 90s jerseys, and we got the San Jose Sharks teal jersey. We're not talking about the whole set here. We're talking about the teal jersey. This is their first jersey, teal, broad gray stripes outlined in black and then white, going up against Anaheim's eggplant jersey. These are the purple jerseys, or the eggplant jerseys, with the original Mighty Ducks logo, the angled green triangle or green area, whatever you want to say, with white and silver stripes. So let's start with you, Sean, and a review of San Jose's original teal jersey.
You know, for a team that came into the league with such a very, very terrible roster, they came out looking good. And in fact, I would say that this is one of the best jerseys any team from that era debuted with. I love these things. I think that everyone would love to see the Sharks return to this in a modern form. And it proved that you could not copy Chicago, but do something very similar to them.
Justin?
Beautiful. I love these. These make me so many colors of happy. I think the jerseys themselves are really nice. Gray, white, and black are something wouldn't expect to work well in that close of proximity on a jersey, a la LA Kings, where it's disappointing pretty much across the board. But I think when you add that teal, it just really, really gives them something to pop off of and looks great. I think my only negative with this jersey would just be the logo, and that's just because it's been dated just by the time that has passed since then. I think the All Black Shark looks a little dated, like I said, and a little amateur now looking back, but you can't really fault it for its time, though. It came out in that era, so that's what you're going to get. But as a jersey, it's beautiful. I love everything about it. The shoulder patches is one of my favorite logos the Sharks has ever had as well, I should say. So definitely a big proponent of this design.
TC on San Jose.
I love this jersey. I actually own the home white, which I like a little bit better, if only because I kind of enjoy the contrasting cuff. But the dark teal, dark used loosely, teal jersey looks fantastic. What they were able to do with the color scheme they had, I think what makes the white, black, and gray work as a color scheme is the fact that you have such a loud color in that teal that it sort of takes away from the fact that the striping is in such simple, basic colors.
Steve, your shot.
I am so glad that they decided to go with teal because it is beautiful. So just quick background, I actually read that they originally were told not to go with it by the NHL. The NHL did not want them to go with it.
Really?
But they did anyways.
Well, good for them. It worked out. It's a solid jersey.
Yes, and I love it because, like you said, just the black really pops on it, and the white doesn't mix. Like, it doesn't get washed away within that teal. It's like the teal's the perfect color to match with that white and that silver. Just overall, and the striping being how traditional it is, it worked. And like Justin said, the only thing is that logo is really dated. And just even at the time, that logo was kind of amateurish.
Yeah, I think the colors are very strong here. They've stood the test of time. They could still use that color combo. And the jersey looks like a hockey jersey, which I always love. That's one thing that I look for. I need to identify with the jersey as a hockey jersey. And just because of those elements, this was a very popular jersey with fans across the league. They sold record levels of merchandise. So this is just a really well done jersey. Going up against the San Jose Sharks teal jersey is the original Anaheim Ducks eggplant jersey. This is the one without the Roundel logo shoulder patches. So Sean, start us off with your quick review of this one.
I feel it's sacrilege to say anything bad about these jerseys, but would you really want to? I mean, this was the first jersey, I think, that where diagonal striping really started to work here. The colors are, I mean, where else have we seen eggplant used in hockey? These are fantastic jerseys. They didn't age well at first, I thought, but coming back vintage, they actually aged quite well.
Justin?
I like this jersey. I'm not sure I'd say I love it. I think it's one of those jerseys that, like Sean was saying, the fact that it's vintage adds a lot. Something that's repeatedly bothered me as I see these like being sold currently and people picking them up all over the place is the fact that there's a triangular logo with that sort of angled triangular striping pattern and that the angles on them are so different. That's something that's always been jarring to me, so I don't really like the impact of those on one another. I think it's a very well done jersey. I think I always like teams that do something unique, so I think kudos for that, as Sean was saying as well, on the angled striping, and that's something they still keep today with the arm striping at least. So I think it was definitely a really good shot, and it's something they did really well, but it's not at the highest level for me.
TC?
Quack, 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 quack. I love this jersey. This jersey screams childhood. I know I'm billed as the man down south, but I actually was born in Southern California, and I've seen these jerseys in action in person more than any other jersey. I own the home white version of this jersey. It's just such a great logo. I love the Wild Wing mask, like the fact that they the goalie mask and bend it into the shape of a duck blew my mind when I was a kid. The angled striping, this was one of the first ones that really pulled it off well. And that color scheme, you could plaster that on anything and you would know that it was the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
Steve?
To what TC said about the color scheme, yes, they basically owned that color scheme, and they owned it perfectly. I mean, who would have thought that jade and eggplant and silver and white would have worked for a hockey team? Of course, it was the 90s, so yeah, that was the perfect time to use it. But overall, it was just, I mean, it wasn't an overly crazy design on the jersey. It was a diagonal stripe that went down the jersey, and then the one sleeve followed it, and the other just had it in the opposite direction. So it from a sense, it looks like could be a normal 90s jersey, but the logo itself was cool because it had the upside-down triangle and the roundel and the goalie duck mask. But I think what really propelled it was the fact that it was Disney-owned, Disney had the movies from it, and just Disney sold it like crazy like they do with everything. So, but yes, looking back on it now, all the kids who watch the movies or they follow the team, yes, it's now become a hot commodity just because of that, because they grew up watching it. And I mean, also one of my favorite players was Paul Correa growing up, so that's why I have some sentimental value with it.
I'm not a fan of this jersey. It's not a terrible jersey, but
You whore!
Shut up. Don't even say another word.
Ryan,
I was going to be the only one that was worried.
I've just taken TC's childhood, thrown it on the muddy floor, and stomped all over it.
Just because your childhood was back with the original 6, you're going to destroy mine.
I'm
Still
in my,
remembers when the Leafs won a cup.
I'm in my mid-30s.
Guys. He just thinks that the Anaheim Mighty Ducks ripped off the Pittsburgh Pirates with a diagonal striped jersey.
There you go.
I grew up, I was 12 or 13, maybe 11, whatever, it doesn't matter. When the Mighty Ducks second movie came out, when the white version of this jersey was featured. And then just to see it on the NHL ice, I guess I was at that age where I started to become skeptical, and I was just like, you're throwing a movie onto the ice. This is ridiculous. Who can take this seriously? And I know that the stripes were angled, but that's the part I didn't care about. I thought that was stupid. And
this coming from a Disney fan.
I know. I'm a Disney freak. You would think I'd be all for these jerseys. TC just wants to stab me in the throat right now. I can see it. But yeah, not a fan of these jerseys. If I had to give them a rating, it would be 6 out of 10. I don't care about the angled stripes. I'm a boring old man in his mid-30s who wants straight stripes on his jersey. You give me arm stripes, hem stripes. I do love the logo, though. Gotta love the logo. So not a huge fan of this jersey. So I'm going to start us off and pick San Jose as my winner. Sean, who do you got?
I'm also picking San Jose, but for a different reason. Now, I have lots of fond memories of the Mighty Ducks jerseys. I never watched the Mighty Ducks movies as a kid. I just played a lot of NHL 04, still do. So I'm very familiar with the Mighty Ducks branding. The problem was when the NHL did the whole throwback on the Edge thing, but never releasing us, the Edge versions of them. And Anaheim's jersey just got butchered in the Edge cut, and San Jose's jersey got better. And I know someone who owns that San Jose Edge cut jersey. It's probably one of the best jerseys released in the Edge cut. So you know what, San Jose, let's make it 2-0.
2-0. And for those of you watching on the bonus video feed, you can see the vulgarity that TC is spreading across this podcast with his extremities. Justin, who do you got as the winner here?
Might as well make it 3-0.
3-0.
I'm
dead to me.
Dead in the water before TC could talk.
I'm a sucker for teal. I think it's one of those colors that I'm so glad the Sharks have brought into the league. I think as much as it sucks that there's not a purple team right now, just the teal is glorious. Like the jersey is good. It's got those traditional horizontal stripes that Ryan was talking about. I'm an old man at age 19, so I'll join Ryan on that one. But definitely Sharks over Anaheim any day.
All right, 3-0. So we've established that the Sharks are going to win this throwback throwdown, and we'll get to TC last. Steve, are you going to break hearts? Who are you choosing as your winner?
This was a really, really difficult decision. So difficult, I had to flip a coin. And I'm sorry, TC, I flipped to San Jose.
And it's 4-0 San Jose. All right, TC, even if I gave you 3 votes here, it wouldn't be enough. Who are you giving your choice to?
I'm giving my choice to the one true jersey.
Sweet San Jose.
Our savior.
Sweet.
Islanders black jersey.
Savannah. That jersey is the greatest thing to hit the ice in the 90s.
At least he qualified it.
And that's 1 vote for Anaheim. Do we need a recount?
I think we're good.
4 for
No,
San
but we
Jose.
need some lobotomies because you're all clearly insane.
Hey, I flipped a coin. I believe in the coin.
Your coin was wrong.
Mine came down to which went back on a mediocre jersey template, which will look better on that. So you know what? I think that this could have gone either way.
You only like the San Jose edge because they added more black to it.
Sean would jump in and throw us off the rails and just be like, I like that teal jersey, but you should have included the black alternate, man. That would have been...
But Anaheim had black pants and a black helmet for one season, which, by the way, looked absolutely awful.
Was it?
Black looked awful. Look at that.
This is not about that season. This is about their initial rollout. When they
I'm just saying. One team,
fantastic.
No, one team did my favorite color of jersey better than others, and did the edge cut better. And on top of that,
the edge was not part of this. You're throwing in all these qualifiers that are just wrong.
Yes, and the coin is the. You know what?
Just tell me flip the coin.
I've lost
There
already.
is no God.
I've lost already.
All right, putting this into goalie terms, Jeff Hackett has defeated Guy Hebert 4-1 here.
That's not saying much.
In Throwback Throwdown. I'm sorry, TC, but the Ducks have been crushed.
Consider this my resignation.
All right, it's time for fake or authentic. This is where I give statements. Usually it's 3 statements. I've prepared a special 4th statement today. And the writers chime in with whether or not they think it's fake or authentic. Here we go. Statement number 1. I own an Adidas jersey and I love it. Sean?
Authentic. I have the Vegas home jersey and I love it. And I have a Columbus Blue Jackets home on the way, and I'm sure I will love it. It'll be my first look at how the Adidas numbers are. You know what? I am excited. I actually like it a lot more than the Reebok jerseys because they don't catch as easy.
Ouch. He's got a Blue Jackets home on the way, and here I was trashing that jersey during the break. And now it's too late. It's on the way. All right. Justin, fake or authentic on this one?
I would say relatively authentic. I own a Matt Duchene Avs jersey that I picked up real cheap from Dick's. I will say, if you're getting an Adidas jersey, make sure you get stitch customization. A lot of the factory direct stuff is heat pressed entirely, not even the little bit of stitching that Reebok used to do on their premieres. And this is supposedly an authentic jersey. So I will say, definitely do your homework and make sure you're really getting a quality jersey when you buy one. I bought this one knowing it was heat pressed, but since it was an Adidas jersey for $50 3 months after it came out, I wasn't too hurt by it. As a small guy, I would like if Adidas used their full-size logos on all of their jerseys. I own a size 50 Duchene jersey when a 48 would probably fit me better, but Adidas has this new thing where their size 40 jerseys are all youth jerseys apparently, so they have tiny crest and tiny shoulder patches, and the tiny crest looks awful, but somehow the shoulder patches look worse. So definitely I would say stay away from those, but if you want to wear it now, maybe go that route. But I'm gonna keep it in my closet for a while and then break it out once it starts fitting a little better in the future.
Back on a few pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Justin, why are you eating all those chocolate bars? I want to wear my Duchene jersey. TC, fake or authentic on this one?
I'm going to go authentic. I'm actually wearing my only Adidas jersey right now. It's the USA World Cup of Hockey jersey. Hacky. I just really like the fit of it. It looks great on its own, and it still looks great when I'm wearing it over a sweatshirt. Again, I would say you do want the stitching done, just like Justin said, but I really like the main crest. I don't know about other ones, but on this one, the main part of the main crest is made of the same material as the rest of the jersey. So it's actually a lot more comfortable when you're sitting down. I know people, hopefully it's not just me encountering this, but when you're sitting down, The crest on a jersey, especially for bigger crests like roundels, it just bunches up and looks awkward. But with these, it doesn't really do that as much.
Steve, fake or authentic on this one?
I do not own one. However, I'm going to say authentic because I know people who own them. I've tried multiple ones on before, and I really can't say anything bad about it other than just the quality of the numbering and the price tag of it. Other than that, no, they're very light. They're very comfortable from whose I've tried on, and just besides some of the aesthetic things that I don't like, otherwise, no, they're very nice.
All right, here's my chance to go fake on this, and that's mainly because I do not own an Adidas jersey. There's a reason for that. If you're a fat guy, Adidas...
You're poor.
That's a leading cause of not having a jersey. But if you're a fat guy, Adidas is not kind to you. And that's not Adidas' fault, but it's just not working for me. I need, as a larger gentleman, I need a size 60, which in Adidas world qualifies as it's either a quadruple XL or a triple XL. And just to put this into context, Sidney Crosby wears a 56, which in Adidas world is a double XL. So Sidney Crosby wears a double XL. So
Sidney Crosby's a fat fuck.
And thank you.
Sidney Crosby hears this. TC lives in Georgia.
Thank you.
Lyrics.
He can do whatever he wants.
Thank you, TC, for getting us kicked off iTunes. That's awesome.
The clean lyrics.
You can edit
Seal.
it out.
God, Gorn is the clean lyrics.
Whatever happened to the goal horn?
Yeah, I know.
This is beautiful.
So, anyways, TC's not kind to fat people. No, Adidas is not kind. Adidas is not kind to fat people. So that's my problem. So this is all fake for me. Let's go to the next statement. Fake or authentic? If my team lost in the Stanley Cup final, I would still get a cup final patch on my jersey. Sean?
Authentic, but there's a couple stipulations to this. If it is the first cup final that they make, yes. If they play particularly well, yes. If it's like their fifth and they get swept, no, because there are better years I can get that on.
So, like, you wouldn't get a Bills jersey with that fourth Super Bowl logo on it.
No, exactly. You'd want to get one of the first three, or if you were a Leafs fan, 93.
That's not fair. Come on, Sean.
Now I'm mad. I made myself mad. So
Straighten up here. Straighten up.
They had to loom those themselves. They didn't have electricity back then.
They brought in the player. They brought in the players' wives.
It took a month's harvest of cotton to make up all that yarn for the patch.
Justin, fake or authentic if your team lost in the cup final? Cup patch?
Fake. Mostly because this is going to sound kind of mean or uppity, but since the Penguins have won the last two, you already have opportunity to get one now of a winning year.
You spoiled brat. You spoiled brat.
I can pick 09, I can pick 15, I can pick 16. I'm not picking 15.
Same thing for me with like college football. Like if your team loses a bowl game, you're not going to go out there and buy a bunch of bowl merchandise for your team. So I think it's a similar vein for me.
Now, just an offshoot from that, if you did find one of those banished, Phantom Champions merchandise for your team, would you pick that up?
Phantom merchandise? No.
No. Okay. All right. I would definitely pick that up.
Because they send them to children in Africa who don't have anything else to wear, Ryan. You're literally stealing clothes. Are you proud of yourself now?
There's no size 60 children in Africa. It's fine.
Once Adidas starts making fat guy jerseys, I'll stop stealing shirts from kids.
Hear that, Adidas? Here's the deal. You just want a size 60 arenas authentic. You send that to HJC headquarters, and we'll give the shirts to the kids in Africa.
I'd like to thank Adidas for not even making size 60 arenas jerseys. Make me feel bad for eating excessively and not exercising. Jerks. All right. TC, fake or authentic, would you get a loser cup final patch on your jersey?
I am going to go fake. because I'm a Rangers fan, and I was actually this was a quandary that I went through a while back when the Rangers were playing against the Kings. I was actually dating a Kings fan at the time.
Oof.
And that made for some fun exchanges. But no, I think the heartbreak of it is too much. That being said, there are certain teams that I would do it for. Like if your team had never made it to a cup final before, like Sharks a couple of years back, or even Nashville last year, yeah, of course I'd get it, because that's still a special occasion for them. But if you're on a team that's sort of always a bridesmaid, never a bride, no, I wouldn't.
Let's go to another fan of the Penguins for a tainted answer. Steve, would you do this?
Honestly, yes. Now, being that the Penguins have only ever lost one, and no,
Somehow worse than my
we're not going to get there. We're not going to. No, like one that I've actually always wanted was a 2003 Stanley Cup patch to put on a Ducks jersey. So, I mean, just because that was the only time that they made it to the Stanley Cup as the Mighty Ducks, but they ended up losing to a really good Devils team. So in an instance like that, where it's a team that, say, they have a jersey that you like, and they went to the Stanley Cup, and even though they lost, maybe you still want to have it just to add something more to the jersey, yeah. Otherwise, I really wouldn't.
I'll throw some examples out here for teams like the 96 Florida Panthers. That's a big one. The 2010 Philadelphia Flyers, particularly if you have Michael Leighton on the back. I think that's the best example. Like, don't laugh about Michael Leighton.
No, I would never get a Flyers jersey with a Stanley Cup patch. That's
never get a Flyers
sacrilegious
jersey
in
with any
Pittsburgh.
patch.
No, I would not even get a Flyers jersey. You'd have to pay me to have a Flyers jersey.
Yeah, well.
I would not wear it on a train. I would not wear it in the rain. I would not wear it here or there. I would not wear it anywhere.
Do you know how much Pittsburghers hate Flyers jerseys?
They're called Pittsburghers, so I can imagine quite a bit.
No, I saw someone give a Flyers jersey to a homeless man in downtown Pittsburgh. That's how much he hated it. He gave it to a homeless
man. Threw it out right afterwards, too.
Actually, basically, performing a basic act of human decency means he hates it.
Yes. I'll tell you a story about that.
That's the city of Pittsburgh.
Come on down.
Homeless people clothing is the lowest of the low.
When I was in the 8th grade, a friend of mine went to a conference finals game between the Habs and Flyers in 2010. And he came back, and he had all these photos of Flyers jerseys that were just lying on the street. Like, people had brought them to destroy and burn. And I think even then, a younger version of me knew to yell at him, saying, "Why didn't you bring me one back, you ass?"
Yeah. We're such jersey nerds that instantly, as soon as you said pile of jerseys, I was like, man, I would love. Yeah, I'd love to find a pile of jerseys.
Brian's picking through them 2XL, 2XL, 2XL.
This one's only got a tiny singe mark on it.
Stop burning them! Stop, everyone!
If they burn the Flyers logo off of them, I would take them.
All right, well, for me, as the pathetic Leafs fan, yes, I would totally get a Stanley Cup Finals patch if they lost in the final on the jersey.
And that might be soon.
Maybe, we'll see. They're falling apart right now, but
not the way they're going the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're a different story.
This is why we don't do around the league anymore, folks. It just got depressing.
Ryan just got sad.
Same thing every week.
Everybody's crying on the inside.
Same thing every week. We don't know how to play defense. We beat the Sens.
I'll just have a recording and we'll just play it every week.
Yeah. Defense. Beep. All right, here we go for fake or authentic. The most I've ever paid for one hockey ticket is over $200. Fake or authentic, Sean?
That is very fake because Moosehead's tickets are $12 for a student. So, I mean, I don't think I've spent $200 in total on Moosehead's tickets.
That's a $10 bill and a toonie there to go see the Mooseheads.
Now, that's a lot of roll up the rim come February. So what you do is you get your games in before February, and then February you don't go to any Mooseheads games, but in March you go to all the Mooseheads games to make up for the games missed.
Beautiful. Justin, fake or authentic on this?
Yeah, so fake. Fake to an extent. I have gone to a game with a ticket that was more than $200. Me and my brothers and my dad all went to the Winter Classic in Ann Arbor when it was Toronto, Detroit. So I have been to a game on a ticket that was over $200. However, I did not pay for it myself. Very fortunately on that one, but definitely was a heck of an experience and something that I'll have with me the rest of my life. So I definitely think it was $300 well spent, but fortunately it was not my $300.
And that's always the best. TC, fake or authentic on this?
Fake, because my local team was the Thrashers, and you could get in for a Coke can and a warm handshake.
That was the Coke can full of peanuts.
Boiled peanuts.
And it was a warm, moist handshake, too.
The best kind.
I was one of those 14 people you would see in the stands at games.
Those people going, come on, Nick Berg, no, that's not how you do it.
Yeah, it was me, Jeff, Curly, other Jeff.
That old lady just, why'd they blow the whistle? They were doing so good. Why did they blow the whistle?
Come on, Ben Eater, it's a fight.
Steve, fake or authentic?
Fake to a point. I'm kind of like Justin. When I was first dating my now fiance, she actually bought Winter Classic tickets for us for the first Winter Classic, or the first outdoor game in Pittsburgh. And I just remember telling her how much I could spend on Christmas, and I remember seeing those tickets, and she just gave me the most angry look ever. But have I ever spent that much? No. She has, but I have not.
Well, that just gives you clearance to spend that much money at a random time later and justify it with, well, you bought Winter Classic tickets.
Next year.
No, I bought a ring that was well over that amount.
There you go.
So now I get all the time in the world, and I get to what I want to do.
Fake or authentic for me? I'm authentic on this one. I did drop $265 in 2004 to go see Game 7, Toronto-Ottawa of the first round. So that was fantastic. I was at the 2014 Winter Classic between Toronto and Detroit, but I got a fifth row ticket for $95. So the view was excellent. Saw some heads and shoulders skating around the rink. Didn't see the puck all day. But
no,
2 words on that Sens fans.
Was that freedom dollars or Monopoly money?
Freedom.
Oh, that's $200 Canadian. Oh, and 2 words for the Sens.
I was going to say, don't you pay $200 a ticket just for a typical Leafs game nowadays?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, okay. So speaking to that, yes, I'm in the last row. January 31st, I'm going to the Leafs game. They're playing the Islanders, and I'm in the last row. It's an actual seat, like a chair that you can move around, and it's
take it down to the gold.
It's wheelchair access. It's way in the back corner.
Cost you 2 weeks worth of paychecks.
It is. It's $110 a seat to see the New York Islanders on a Wednesday in the very last row.
Folding chair.
On a folding chair of the Air Canada Center. Yep.
Oh man, Justin Mapletop and Sean Bates. Oh wow.
I don't think you can see the numbers from that high up, but yeah. Anyways. So, yeah, loving the price of Leaf tickets. Loving the price of Leaf tickets.
All the money you saved, I would invest in a nice pair of binoculars.
There you go.
All right, our final fake or authentic. TC kind of touched on this a bit with his post on Friday. Here we go. Fake or authentic. I am super excited to hear Kid Rock play at All-Star Weekend in Tampa. Sean, fake or authentic?
I think the only performer the NHL has ever had that I was mildly interested in was at the 2015 Winter Classic. They had Billy Idol, and he did all right. That was a decent show. I just want to say that whatever I don't personally like Kid Rock's music. I've never really listened to it. I will say that he can top Ace Frehley very easily by showing up and not looking like Ace Frehley.
That's his gimmick, man. That's his gimmick. Justin, fake or authentic?
Very, very fake. I think if you're watching the All-Star game and your biggest excitement is the performance before and during the middle of it or whatever, I think you shouldn't be watching the All-Star game. There's hockey going on, so I'm excited about the hockey, not about the music.
TC, fake or authentic?
I'm going to go fake because, honestly, the only two songs that I can think of by Kid Rock are Ba What Da Ba, and that one song he did where he mashed up Werewolves of London and Sweet Home Alabama and
Oh my God!
Okay.
Bob Seger,
To me,
All Summer Long.
Those
All summer
two,
long.
those two
Yeah.
songs, Werewolves of London and Sweet Home Alabama, they sound the same to me. Like
And that's why it works.
They're completely
Well,
different.
Yeah,
they're completely different. They sound the same.
Well, you're wrong. But
He's got the point.
But
He's
I'd
got 'em
say,
there.
much like Sean, the last All-Star Game act that I was really excited for was 2008 in Atlanta. They had the Hives, who were my favorite band at the time. So, and just like Justin, like it's a hockey event. You don't really get that excited. Like I don't get excited for the Super Bowl halftime show. They choose some non-threatening, mediocre act that no one's going to be up in arms about. And no one's going to be super happy about, but we'll just get the job done.
Well, they did choose the guy that did do the nip slip, so.
And he ruined it for everyone, and we were stuck with a bunch of people who should have stopped touring 20 years ago.
If you're insulting the Stones, the Who, Prince, and Bruce
Tom
Springsteen.
Petty.
Yeah, okay, that no problem with that.
Bruce Springsteen. Look, all I'm saying is, in their prime, yes. Did I enjoy seeing them sort of half-ass their way through a Super Bowl show? No.
Now imagine what percentage of caring, because we are a clean lyric podcast, what percentage of caring Kid Rock is going to have at the NHL All-Star Game in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the stands could be empty, or they might be full. It's Florida, right?
Everybody's going to go. Yeah.
It's Florida. You never know. Steve,
He
fake or
is from-
Everybody's
He is
old in
from
Florida.
Detroit. He could be wearing a Red Wings jersey.
Yeah, you could.
Oh,
Steve,
great.
you fake or authentic on this, Steve?
I'm going to have to go with fake on this one. It's more about the players. Who cares? I mean, that's why they don't really go for the much more popular and higher priced ones. Not because the NHL can't afford it. I mean, I don't know if they really can, and I don't really care to know, but I just think they want to put more emphasis on the game rather than that. It's kind of like how in the Pro Bowl for years, the Pro Bowl would have like some washed up 90s singer, where the one here was Lifehouse.
Oh, God.
yeah, they had that. I was like, where the heck have they been? But,
Waiting for this opportunity.
Pull them out of their garage where they were staying for 5 years.
If I could make a suggestion, just get Blue Rodeo, honestly.
But that's a Canadian act, right? That's not going to
No, you're
work in
right.
Tampa.
Never, because we all know the viewing trap that is the NHL All-Star Game halftime show. Never mind.
Whoa. Stop for a second. You just said NHL All-Star Game halftime show?
Halftime show?
Well, listen. This brings me to a second point. Facebook now, when it gives you the hockey scores, tells you that there are quarters in hockey. So I'm sorry,
Oh my god.
Facebook.
Mr. Zuck himself,
Yeah, I'm sure Zuckerberg's a
Zucky
massive
Poo.
hockey fan.
Zucky Poo,
Zucky Poo.
Zucky Poo doesn't understand
though?
hockey.
they're smart. You know why? Because they didn't get Nickelback.
I would support Nickelback. I'd be okay with that.
The back. Anyways, I'm gonna go fake on this one. I don't care about Kid Rock, so I won't be watching him, and I'll watch the All-Star Game, and that's about that. I agree with TC though. The Hives were excellent when they played in Atlanta. They were fantastic because they played live for the introductions, and they hit all their marks, and it was seamless,
That's cool.
and they did awesome.
Best
So
thing to play in Atlanta ever. In that hockey arena.
So that was fake or authentic for today's episode. And now let's open up the mailbag. Mailbag. reaching into the mailbag, and we have a few new questions. One of our most recent questions, no name left with it. What's your favorite cake? Steve. Steve, what's your favorite cake?
Who, me?
You're the only Steve here. Yep.
I did not hear you call my name.
Oh, Steven.
Thank you.
Stephen M. from Sunday, you have the microphone.
That's a very tough choice.
Should we come back to you?
I always say cake is cake, but that's because why my wedding cake is going to be like 3 different flavors in one. So
awesome. So your wedding cake's going to be your favorite cake.
Yes.
There you go.
Justin, your favorite cake?
Not really a huge cake guy. My wedding cake would probably be a birthday cake, so I can save some bucks. But
I'm sure your wife will love that.
Oh yeah, she'll be great. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I'm not a huge cake guy. I will say nothing but cakes down in the States are really good. I don't know if that's like a Texas thing or a Southern thing, but that's probably it.
I'm familiar with it.
There you go.
TC, what's your favorite cake?
I'm about to sound super bougie, but my favorite cake that I've ever had is at Smith & Walensky's in New York. They make this fantastic cake that's like a chocolate hazelnut type thing, and then the bottom layer is like a chocolate Rice Krispie treat. It's just absurdly delicious. And
Did you drink it with a vanilla Java porter from a microbrew there?
I was 14, so no. Although a guy did offer to buy me a drink, which was a little weird.
The kid over at table 15's eating cake and drinking beer. Someone should stop him. Sean, your favorite cake?
My favorite cake was the ice cream cake I got for my 8th birthday that had the Dairy Queen near to us had a very outdated book of photos you could get on it. So this was like 2004, and they still had the Islanders fisherman logo on this cake. And I looked at all these logos and I said, wow, I haven't seen half of these. I want that one. And then, Dairy Queen ice cream cake tastes the same, but it was the fact that the fisherman logo was introduced to me at age 8, and I was like, hey.
Actually, that was around the same time that it was introduced to me. No, that's a lot. I was like 5 years old when it was.
Sean, if I ever make you a cake, it's going to be black icing with Sean arched across the front of it.
It has to be in the font that they use on the back of the jersey.
Naturally.
My favorite cake is, I'm going to say ice cream cake too, but Baskin & Robbins makes the best chocolate peanut butter ice cream. Next to Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs makes the best peanut butter chocolate ice cream, but Baskin & Robbins puts it in cake form, and it's tremendous, and I want it on my birthday. But my wife never remembers what kind of ice cream I like, so she guesses. So she's right. She's right 33% of the time.
What about Fudgy the Whale?
See, we don't have that here in Canada.
Yeah,
we Fudgy the Whale. No Cookie Puss?
No, I'm aware of these people, but yeah, we don't.
The Americans are going, I love Cookie Puss. I love Fudgy the Whale.
We don't have that. We have Dairy Queen, Baskin & Robbins, and probably some other assorted ice cream flavors, but no.
Store brand.
Pop on over to Sobeys. You just head on over to the cake department. Give them a picture. They throw it right on there. All right. We got a couple questions from Dave H. here. Oh, back on the food train. He wants you to describe the perfect sandwich. Sean, can you describe your perfect sandwich?
Yeah, I go to Subway and I order a Spanish chicken teriyaki on flatbread with honey mustard, barbecue sauce, spinach, green peppers, and cucumbers.
He was ready to go.
So your taste in sandwiches is as bad as your taste in jerseys.
It's got to be a black flatbread.
Well, I'm just so used to doing that. I am a university student. Yeah.
Sean walks in there. I want you to toast it, and I want you to toast it until it's burnt.
Hey, can you put these letter templates on just script over letter? No, in all seriousness, a really nicely made Reuben.
A Reuben. Justin, favorite describe the perfect sandwich.
Yeah. I can't remember where it was. Somewhere in Midland, Ontario. I went with my grandpa and got this ginormous corned beef sandwich. And I'm a huge corned beef guy, and it's something I don't have really unless I'm in Canada for whatever reason. So, but just like there was like probably like 6 inches of corned beef on this thing, and then just a little mustard on top, nice and simple. But it got the job done.
Got the job
I'm
done.
going to say a microwaved hot dog.
Steve, describe your perfect sandwich.
The hot sausage Primanti Brothers sandwich. Hot sausage, lettuce, tomato, coleslaw, French fries between Italian bread.
Lettuce and coleslaw. Very interesting. See,
It is delicious.
He didn't ask for side dishes. I saw you. I heard you threw French fries in there. He didn't ask
they're
for
in the
side.
No,
sandwich.
they're in
the sandwich.
Get out of here! You Americans will do everything.
You have to put them in there yourself because
Literally. Everything I just named is on the sandwich.
Yeah, it's
It's out of
crazy.
line.
All right,
It's out
guys,
of line.
union rules, no sides and sandwiches.
Anybody?
No, the story is that they decided because they were down in the strip district of Pittsburgh and this guy was on the run, he was a truck driver, so he said, just throw it on the sandwich. So they did. And there you
Neato.
go.
Great story. TC, perfect sandwich.
All right, I'm about to blow your guys' mind. There's this place in California that is called Fat Sal's. One of the owners is actually Turtle from Entourage.
Okay, yeah.
And the one named after him, the Fat Jerry. Let me list it off. Thinly sliced ribeye steak, grilled onions, melted American, chicken fingers, mozzarella sticks, crisp bacon, fried egg, fries, mayo, ketchup, salt, and pepper on a hero.
Fries on the sandwich again.
Yeah.
When it says melted American, I'm assuming he's talking about cheese, right? They're not melting people.
I'm hoping he's not.
I mean, maybe.
It depends on the day. If it's a
we all
Saturday,
know-
it's a person.
California cheeseburger is eating babies.
What the heck?
I'm not sure we all knew that.
California cheeseburger.
God knows what I'm talking about.
All right, the perfect sandwich for me. I like just like my hockey jerseys. I like it nice and simple.
Like horizontal stripes on his
He likes recipes that haven't been used since 1967. So we're talking Jello mold, mayonnaise, tuna.
Well done, Sean. You know what? I can't top that, so let's leave it at that. Sure. Give me a 1967 tuna sandwich. All right, our final question.
Wait. 1967 recipe, or it's been sitting
No,
around?
definitely tuna from 1967.
I had this can of Nom, never opened it. All kind of looked weird, didn't want to buy it. You can have it though.
Back in
That tuna sound
'67,
like-
We
Great,
found
great,
this
great, great
fridge
grandpa.
in a nuclear testing site with a corpse inside. He was wearing a hat and carrying a whip, but in his satchel, he had a
He's got
tuna
some
sandwich.
tuna.
back in '67, when the tuna used to contain tiny pieces of dolphin, extra flavor.
Mm.
All right, our final question in the mailbag also comes from Dave H. This is more along the lines of hockey, not food related here. What kind of abuse should be expected if you wear your team's jersey in the visiting team's rink? What kind of abuse should you expect? Sean, why don't you go ahead on this?
I, as a Winnipeg fan who has worn Jets jerseys to the ACC, you know what? Not much. If you go to a game where you're in an arena that your team doesn't normally play in, not much. If you wear a Montreal jersey into a Toronto arena or a Boston or heaven forbid Buffalo, expect a lot of booing, a lot of shouting. You're going to get heckled. If it's a particularly bad game, just roll your sleeves up, curl a fist, and get ready for some fisticuffs out front when Vesatoskala blows it for the Leafs. And
Steve, what kind of abuse should you expect? All right, let's rephrase this a little bit for your scenario. What kind of abuse, legitimately, what kind of abuse should a Flyers fan expect when they come to a Penguins game?
Give your jersey to a homeless person.
That really depends. From me going to a Flyers game, most of the Flyer fans I've met are kind and nice, and you can joke with them and whatnot. That depends how the game's going. But if the game starts getting dirty and whatnot, and people start picking sides, then then it starts to get, when one thing happens, you start to cheer, and then you get the eyes on the person, and you feel like you're being eyed up on, and you're about to be attacked by a wolf pack. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we're your friend until you turn on us, and then you're our enemy.
Justin, what kind of abuse should one expect wearing their jersey in a visiting team's arena?
Yeah, I think it's important to preface this with the fact that most of my hockey watching experience is in Dallas, Texas, where until recently you were pretty excited if someone would even recognize a Stars jersey in the stands. So I think wearing a different team's jersey, you really don't take any abuse for in Dallas, because they really don't clue into the fact, or if they do, they don't care enough about hockey to know rivalries or even know what's going on in a lot of the games. So I think it's a very different atmosphere there. But I'm sure in some of the larger markets, when you have those big rivalry games, I think you may be in for a little trouble.
TC, what should be expected?
Well, most of my home viewing games were Thrashers games, where the home team got heckled more than the away team.
What are you doing wearing that Thrashers jersey, boy? Go put on something halfway decent.
Pretty much.
Disgusting.
I think good-natured ribbing, some heckling is fine, but like when you see it turn into like fights or someone purposely dumping a beer, like you're just ruining someone else's jersey and being a jerk at that point.
Or verbal abusive.
Yeah,
unless they're
verbally abusive.
You can be verbally abusive, just don't touch the jersey. That's the important thing.
Yeah, don't mess up the jersey.
Unless they're
Well, you touch the jersey, it's all over.
Unless
it's a black jersey, do what you want. Otherwise, don't touch the jersey.
No, wait, no.
Sean's freaking out now.
No.
Heart attack.
Sean could be in the stands for the Islanders are playing in Winnipeg. Sean's in the stands cheering on the Jets. All of a sudden, a Jets fan starts getting in the face of this Islanders fan. Sean jumps in because the Islanders fan is wearing the black alternate from the early 2000s, 2010s. No, don't ruin it.
That's a work of art. You know what you're doing, man.
So, in conclusion, Sean loves black jerseys.
In conclusion, once again, the theme of the week is the Islanders jersey is great. Nobody else knows what they're talking about, and the Atlanta Thrashers are still a joke.
And Sean likes his jerseys like his women, strong and black.
I like his jerseys how he likes his women, 61 of them, and mutually exclusive.
And all in his closet.
Sean, you got any new pucks?
You mean the basement?
No, they're out of the attic. They're in the closet. Do I have any new pucks? Yes, I have the Yarmir Yager goal puck.
You talked about that last week. Jeez.
Shit.
Well, we didn't get this kicked off iTunes.
Great.
For a second time.
Now we're double kicked off iTunes.
I think that means we're back on.
Yeah.
It was a nice 1 week run, guys.
Remember, subscribe to. We now have to use RedTube. The only site that we take our film.
We're on RedTube. That's good one. All right.
HJC After Dark.
This
meaty.
This just in. Sean's puck collection has been canceled.
Puck collection went the way of it went the way of the around the league segment.
Next week, Sean's going to come in. I'll be like, Sean, you get any new pucks? He'll be like, I was at the community center on Thursday, and these kids were playing hockey, and one of them shot a puck over the glass. So it's a plain black puck, but it's going in the collection.
It's got some character. It's black though, so it's good.
He signed it.
They didn't muddy it up with all those other colors.
He gets his markers out and starts drawing Islanders on it.
You gotta arch it though. It's very important.
20. Turn it over. Nabokov. 20. You know what? For the HJC charity podcast, we will be auctioning off Jets 96 signed pucks.
Jets 96 homemade pucks. And it comes with the video. He's just sitting there, and he doesn't hold the marker properly. He holds it in a big fist, and his tongue sticks out while he's drawing. And they're fantastic. It all goes to charity to help disadvantaged children make their own pucks at home. It's fantastic. Great cause.
They get the rubber processing facilities.
They whittle them themselves.
All right, that's a good point to end the chaos. That is episode 16 of the HJC podcast. Guys, thanks for joining me. This one was a good one. Don't forget that the Concept of the Year semifinal vote is going on right now on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. It ends Friday at noon Eastern. And you can enter now on the website. Go to the season tab to be involved in the season. While you're there, check out all the rules. That's a really cool competition. We only have room for 24 teams, so once 24 teams enter, the poll shuts down. We also have HJC stickers available. And Steve, you want to tell us quickly about some Jersey Casual shirts? What's going on there?
So I'm turning it back 20. Not going to reveal the teams that I'm choosing, but basically, as you can think, it's going to be from the year 1998.
1998
so
Jersey Casual.
96, 97, 97, 98. Don't know why I just chose that, but it's going to be turned back 20. We're going to have a fun time. So
good stuff. So
be on
check
the lookout for this.
Yep. Check out hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. There's the shop tab. You can pick up your stickers. You can pick up your Jersey Casual shirts. Soon enough, if everything goes well, we'll have HJC boats for sale on the website.
Yes.
For $2.
For $2, get your HJC boat. Is not guaranteed to float.
Give me a cardboard boat.
You can listen, download, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. We'd love to hear some feedback and just general thoughts on the show. You want to get involved in anything we talked about, you can leave some comments on the post. And you can also email us, mailbag at hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. You can find the podcast on all the podcatchers I mentioned. And don't forget, we'll be back next week with episode 17. Thanks for listening. Goodbye, everybody.